tonight. But if you want to be real royalty in the state of Louisiana, you got to bring us home another national championship. Go Tigers! All right, Coach, we have a proclamation for you. This is on behalf of the city of New Orleans. Coach, we wish you all the best as the new coach at LSU. We love you. We're going to be backing you. Go get them. We need you. We need that national championship. Next year, let's be celebrating a national championship. Let's go, go Tigers! We love you, Coach.
It is now officially Friday morning in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. What is up, everybody? It is LSU Odyssey live here with you tonight. Monday. So good to me. We are on Monday night, national championship night, college basketball between UConn, Michigan. What a game that's going to be. Incredible game. I really do believe. I mean, UConn actually, take that back. When UConn, they've had some great games in their runs recently, but historically and even in the Hurley era, whenever UConn win these national championships, usually they're pretty boring games. So, UConn and Michigan have both beat the crap out of teams, really. But UConn's had a lot more closer games than Michigan has, that's for sure. So that'll be a fantastic game. Definitely, if you want to keep abreast of that game, I have do what thou wilt. Definitely keep us in mind though for your Monday night coverage. LSU Odyssey here in the house, talking about spring winners and worries so far for LSU football, where you've got spring camp is about. Is it halfway over now? Is spring camp already halfway over now? Where's my phone? Let me check that. The Blazes. Oh, there it is. Sorry about that. It's almost halfway, at least. And for LSU spring already, there's been some interesting things going about. You've got some renewed juice on your defensive line. You've got some absolute pillars now that you can point to as that's a starter on your offensive line. Some anchors like Braylon Moore, like Jordan Seaton, guys who have, Jordan Seaton has been worth every freaking penny. I mean, I don't really know too many people who thought he was overrated or thought he wouldn't be good enough or whatever. But man, has he been worth every damn penny. When you see him going up against Prince Will in these spring battles, spring practice battles, and it is just an unbelievable battle of wills going on there. It's something to behold. It's something to behold. And it's not the only battle going on the field that's really impressive. Ty Benefield, whenever you're seeing him in coverage, man, has he been like a passing game hawk. He's all over and just mirroring the receiver, tight end, even the running backs out of the flat. We haven't seen too many big hits. That hasn't been the type of practices that they're running right now, but you have seen enough physicality and aggression and enough speed from some of these guys. You know what? I also got to give a shout out to someone like Davon Keys as a winner early on here in spring, because he has gotten a lot of shit, I think, unfairly last season, when you saw him lead the team in tackles. And I understand there were some blown plays by him, by Keys. There's blown plays across the board by everybody. And let's remind ourselves that this is a kid who was on the bench, true freshman, and then due to one of the weeks getting injured, and Perkins also being injured, he comes in at linebacker alongside Whit Weeks for basically the last 5 games of the season, right through the real toughest part of the schedule, the meat of the schedule. And then you've got another season where once again you have him filling in for another Weeks brother who's injured. This time it's Whit Weeks this last season who's out, and he did it in Florida when Whit Weeks gets injured. I'm sorry, doesn't get injured, gets ejected within the first 3 plays of the game. The ridiculous targeting call, and Davon Keys does what? Comes in, has 14 tackles, I believe like a TFL or at least 1.5 TFLs. Unbelievable dominant performance, and I believe was SEC Defensive Player of the Week. Was just a showstopper. And then yes, Keys had some moments like the entire defense did, where maybe there was a little bit of aggression, maybe a little bit of some worrying signs. At the same time, I never really felt like that watching him. I felt like he's really the only one running around actually stopping guys alongside AJ Halsey, alongside, Tamarcus Cooley was at least putting in the effort. And even at his worst, Cooley was more picked on in coverage and things like that, but he was at least not whiffing on too many tackles. There was some whiffs, but not as many as historically with the guys like Major Burns and some of that ilk from the years prior. So you from Davon Keys' perspective, I've seen him being able to actually be gap solid on this RPO action, dual threat running quarterback going against him, practicing against that, every single play is it's just gonna sharpen him for the season against dual threat quarterbacks, and it's gonna sharpen every one of our defenders going against dual threat quarterbacks and RPO systems, where it doesn't just have to be the dual threat quarterback. It might be the running back. It might be a game where he's giving it to the running back every play because they know you can't stop him. So it's fantastic for our defense across the board to be practicing against the RPO style play calling on every single play with an actual threat running the ball at quarterback. And even though it's still the touch sack moment in the offseason, and there's really not too much aggression going on, there's far more aggression, far more intensity, far more energy than we've ever saw in a Brian Kelly spring. A lot of the film I'm watching, I go, did they just tackle that guy? And I rewind, just barely kind of lets off at the last second. The guy kind of falls over. He helps him up. They kind of get yelled at by the coaches. It's they're trying to be smart and avoid injuries, but there is almost like this monster that's in a cage, and he's starting to break the bars one by one by one as we get through spring into fall camp. And then we get into the season, you're going to have an uncaged animal unleashed upon the world, I believe. There's every sign that this team could do that and be that. I don't think that's hyperbole. I think it's foolish to think that this team doesn't have enough in the chamber to even come close. Of course they do. You don't sign the number one transfer portal class in the country without being capable of competing for a championship. And that's, the only way that can happen, that can blow up in your face. Oh, you signed the number one portal class or the number one recruiting class, and then it blows up in your face. A&M historically, that 2022 A&M squad where they had the number one class, it was historic, 5-star after 5-star after 5-star, so much money thrown around to get that class. And what did they do? It blew up in his face like a Jenna Jameson video from the 90s. I mean, this thing, Jimbo Fisher is bought out for $70 million. Gone. One 5-star after 5-star after another. Pretty much kind of ruined their careers at A&M. I mean, some of those guys never really fully recovered. Even if they transferred to LSU, like, say, a Denver Harris, who's supposed to be generational talent, all this stuff. Monikers I never bought into. I thought he was great. I thought he could be elite, and then we'll see where that goes. But he was never this generational talent. Bloated 5-star ranking. But my point is can this blow up in LSU's face? Really, the only way that this can blow up in LSU's face is if typical things that happen to football teams. Injuries. Big time absences from your main starters due to injury. Obviously. That's number one. Although when you look at the quarterback position, maybe Kiffin has gotten some insurance to prepare for that. However, you lose a guy like Jordan Seaton. What do you do there? Are you fully invested in what you're seeing from Weston Davis, even though it's spring? And maybe he looks good. Maybe to some people, hey, he looks great. He looks rude. We have to see that in a season against opposition in combat, in the trenches. I'm not going to buy into Weston Davis until I see him fighting in the trenches against Clemson, kicking some ass, taking some names. He doesn't have to be the star of the show, but being part of the chemistry that makes a solid offensive line. I'm not even expecting greatness from this offensive line, even though you have some pieces that are fantastic, like Seaton, Braylon Moore, potentially Devin Harper, who he's been starting. Alu Ba has been starting at right guard pretty much the entire spring and looks to have really locked down that spot. And then you got Weston Davis at right tackle. But remember this, though. We once had DJ Chester last spring starting the entire spring at center while we had Braylon Moore join the roster. And that was, I think, some weird political thing. I don't know what that was. Maybe they thought Braylon Moore didn't need a spring. Maybe he had a hidden injury, and so they were just using him there. Whatever the hell that was, it didn't mean anything because Braylon Moore was your starting center the second fall camp began on through the season, right? Until he, of course, got injured. Then you had to move Chester back there. But you have enough depth here outside of the interior offensive line, which I just have so many questions about, so many unproven variables there on your offensive line interior. And then the defensive line interior. I want to believe that you aren't just a finesse defensive line going into this season where you have so much talent on your edges. Prince Will, 9.5 sacks last season, 13 TFLs. You got Jordan Ross, Jalen Brown, Gabriel. Oh, man. I just for a second forgot that young man had another nightmarish injury. Good God. Sorry, Gabe. That's terrible. I know we talked about that at length, Gabe Relaford's injury, but my God, when you just look at it in the context of what he could have meant for the team and what it could have meant for him having a big season, a part of what could have been a really stunning defensive line rotation with him as well, a part of it. What still could be one without him as being a part of it. Big shame to lose him, but you have so much talent on that edge. But it is also untapped. There's some of those guys who only played a handful of games, or maybe they played a full season, but it was more of a bit part player. Jaylen Brown, Jordan Ross at South Carolina, Tennessee were impressive here and there, but they weren't the stars of the show. Are they just depth guys? Well, Prince Will's going to start on one of those sides. We know that. So on the other side, Gabe Relaford, in my opinion, would have been your day one starter against Clemson. And now I don't know what to make of that. I don't know what to think of that with Gabe. I hope he can come back some point back into the season for maybe a postseason run, and who knows. But I really don't want to believe that we have a finesse-only defensive line. That's one worry for me here, is you have a finesse-only defensive line potentially with a ton of pass-rushing talent. But it'll be like the reverse of what happened last year, where you had a somewhat more, like, you had some good talent at defensive tackle, but it just wasn't even close to enough. And then on the edges, you had some decent talent, but it just wasn't really close to enough. So they were both equally kind of the same, like, so much potential. What could have been had there been one or two guys from maybe a past season, like if that defensive line last year had like a Mekhi Wingo or like a full like a 2022 version, or sorry, 2021 version of Mason Smith, like Jaquelin Roy, who knows? Because they could generate the pressure, but they could not finish off the sacks last season. What if now this year, and they could stop the run pretty well up front until it got to those really crucial games, and then the team collapsed, the defense collapsed. But keep in mind, we also had catastrophic injuries across the defense at just the worst moments. Main injury, of course, Whit Weeks. And so you want to make sure that you're not a defensive front that teams can work you outside with the fakes to in. Everything looks like it's going outside. The offensive line is pulling to the outside. Everything's going. The fake, he holds it. Quarterback holds it, looks at everything, and goes, "Look at that giant gap. I'm faster than everybody. I can make it. That's 40 yards for me." Like that. A guy like Jaden Daniels could score touchdowns from those type of gaps. You give a guy like Trinidad Chambliss those type of gaps, he'll at least get 15 to 20 yards on those plays. And that's if you have attentive, fantastic defenders at the back end who can come fly up and minimize those explosive gains and keep them after just 15 or 16 instead of 30 to 40 yards. And so you really, I'm worried about the defensive tackle spot. I have to see it. It sucks that Jacoby and Guillory. I said this before. It sucks that Jacoby and Guillory could not come back for one more season, because Jacoby and Guillory was just finally healthy, was just finally able to finish a season as, more or less a starter or main contributor off the bench. And he was so freaking effective. He was so good. But it was like, it felt like unfinished business still. It felt like he was just barely starting to build it. And sucks that he couldn't come back another year, because I think it would have been fantastic to have him come back one more season and really that be his last dance. But he had his chances, and you know what? He had a hell of a last dance. He left it all on the field. Jacobian Giller was fantastic as a super senior there in 2025. Remember that Palomalu play over the line against Arkansas? I mean, are you kidding me? That's a legendary shit right there. He got the defense to kind of get their heads back together after they shit themselves against A&M, against Alabama. We all know the stories, but I'm really another spring winner for me. Now I want you to also be posting your spring winners and your spring losers in the comments so that maybe it leads us down a rabbit hole or something as well. Another spring winner for me is the quarterback room. And by that turn, the quarterback room also meaning the fan base is going to be winning too by having the quarterback room being just man, you have such a good feeling about this quarterback room. I mean, Sam Leavitt, Landon Clark, Houston Longstreet, and Houston Longstreet probably has the best arm of all of them. Landon Clark is a howitzer of an arm. I mean, it's crazy. He can uncork that shit. That ball is a quick release. That thing is just flying. But here's the thing: there are a ton of wasted plays and duck throws and miscommunications by Landon Clark that he has to get ironed out and get fixed. That's why he's not ready to start at this point. Sam Leavitt, what we've seen so far, has been worrying at times, but then the next time you see him have a worrying, concerning practice where he's not throwing the ball well, or even like a bad rep or a bad series of reps, or he screws the drill up completely. He's just throwing the ball kind of this, it's up in the air. And yeah, no one's defending it right now, but man, some of these passes will get picked if it's a real game. There's no zip, there's nothing to them, no velocity to them, just like Longstreet. I mean, sorry, the antithesis of Longstreet and the antithesis of Landon Clark, where you could see the difference when they would come in and get the football. It was just bam, bam, bullets. And so you saw Leavitt, get the football and kind of take a step up and get going. And so that was fantastic to me to see that Leavitt is the real deal in a way that like he can handle being tested, and he's going through it right now with that injury. Like he's 99% recovered. You've seen them, much to my absolute horrified reactions. You saw Kiffin and Charlie Weiss running him in these RPO slip, run sneak plays in practices. And you saw, I was like, oh God, they're running Sam Leavitt. And then I'm like, oh wait, okay, it's just Landon Clark. Because the tattoos and the number 10, I'm like, oh wait, okay. It's only Landon Clark. Whew. Like, Landon Clark's healthy, we're good. But then the next series, it shows Sam Leavitt, and they run him. And I'm like, no, don't be running him this early. But that probably speaks to how healthy he actually is right now. Well, otherwise, they wouldn't be doing such a risky thing, in my opinion. Even though the quarterback room does have some firepower there, you want Sam Leavitt to be your starter. I mean, we have to just make sure that the people understand that Sam Leavitt is a freak, guys. Like if we can get Sam Leavitt fully healthy, he doesn't even have to be at this level of greatness. He doesn't even have to be at this level of speed running the football and being dynamic as a runner and a passer. He doesn't even have to, as we're going to show you on the screen here, some of his plays after this stupid Explorer ad ends. Put AI to work for people. These stupid ads. As you can see with Sam Leavitt, if you put him in a Kiffin offense, I just, man, The possibilities are incredible. I mean, you did not have escapability like that last year at all with Garrett Nussmeier. The dude could barely move. And that's what sucks is I wonder how mobile or flexible Nussmeier could have been last year had he not been injured. But that is Levitt. It's not Jaden Daniels, but he's a lot faster than Joe Burrow. He's going to be moving. And he can take you like Joe Burrow was a very effective quarterback with his legs at LSU. Very, very effective. Absolutely killed defenses with his legs. Some of the biggest games LSU won over his 2-year stint, Fiesta Bowl in 2018, Fiesta Bowl run. That game against Miami comes to mind, the opener. And then, of course, sealing the win against Alabama in that second half of the 2019 game. Him taking it in the ribs for some big rushes against Clemson to get us back in that game early. And then leading the comeback that ends up being a 20-plus point win over a team that had a 28-0, consecutive winning streak. Sam Levitt, as a rusher, is a step above those guys. Like a step above that level. Look at that. He's not Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels is a freak. We're not comparing. We're not even going to let's just stop trying to compare it. I've seen people try and throw that out there. Jaden Daniels, he's not Jaden. I'm like, just stop. Who cares? Jaden Daniels is someone who averaged almost a first down every single play. Okay? He's a robot. He's a cyborg. But Sam Levitt's pretty damn good too. And look at this. Look at that. Just took the space and he's gone. Made that man miss. He was going to will himself into the end zone. There is no quit. He will not be denied on this play. Look at this. There's a guy who could stop him, and he will not be denied. And it's not because he's juking him out of his socks, basically. He just is agile and maneuvers his body around the outstretched arms. He's so smart with how he moves the body. And that's why you have to have a fully healthy Sam Levitt. You want him to feel secure and comfortable. That's why it's fantastic that he is a great starting left tackle like Jordan Seaton. But there's a great indication that he will hang in the pocket, take a hit, and deliver a shot downfield. There's just pure toughness and gutty toughness from Sam Levitt there, that quarterback sneaker. He knows he's going to get pummeled. It's a free shot at the quarterback. You're going into the pile like, man, there's going to be some shots. Look at that right there, too. Levitt has a way of staying alive in the play. Oh, that's a beautiful play by number 4, too. What a rushing play there after the catch. I mean, he becomes a running back after the catch. Just can't be stopped. He makes these two guys run into each other on the sideline. How did he keep that in bounds? The tightrope action there is absolutely ridiculous. That's some orgasmic football right there. 5 wide setup. Levitt looked comfortable. How did he fit the football in that window? Come to my window. Oh my God, over the middle. See, that's the thing is Levitt, a lot of the passing plays where I've seen him most successful and why I think he can be so dynamic in Kiffin's offense is a lot of his passing is over the middle. And that's where a lot of these routes are and these route runners are their most successful is catching passes and making plays after the catch over the middle. So Sam Levitt, Houston Longstreet, who we showed the last time we did this show, him throwing a ridiculous bomb that you have to see that footage. It's crazy. So definitely go watch the last show that we did because it's a freakish play by Houston Longstreet and just shows his ridiculous arm talent. But make no mistake, Lane Kiffin has to has to have Sam Levitt as his starting quarterback for this to be a very successful season at LSU. That's just what I believe, because you have to have someone who has that type of dual threat capability. Longstreet or Clark don't have it right now. It's not seasoned. They haven't won a Big 12 championship. They haven't won a conference championship before. They haven't taken a team on into the playoffs, which Sam Levitt has done before. Sam Levitt pushed Texas, a team that went to the Final Four of the college football playoff. They pushed them to double overtime. Barely lost that game. Jamer, what's up? What's up? What's up? How you doing, Jamer? How was your Easter? I hope the Easter at Casa Siobhan was epic. We should Jamer, I'm gonna send you some messages after we get off here of Sage and Ari from Easter. I think you'll absolutely love them. Hope Austin and Anna are doing awesome, and Doug is enjoying retirement. That badass worked his ass off for years, and now he gets to enjoy retirement like he should. It's just, that's what you want to see. And Doug is a patriot, a scholar, and an American hero, and a tiger. What can we say? And Jamer has always been a diehard, just really amazing friend. You know, when I, the last show when I said Blake Ruffino, friend of the show, of course I was meaning that as a joke. But when I say Jamer Siobhan, friend of the show, I mean that in all seriousness. Jamer and I go back six and a half years now at this point. It's been crazy. Jamer, absolutely love you. We are on the precipice of a team here that is capable of contending, and really, this is a team that could beat you in multiple ways when you actually, on paper. We have to see this team gel. We have to see this team get it together and all that stuff. But this is a team that potentially could beat you running the football down your throat, which LSU hasn't done in years. And that's another spring win for me, is there has been an upgrade in the running game. As far as your running back room, the running backs coach, there seems to be more investment all around from everybody. There seems to be more organization in what they're going to do. And when you see them doing these scrimmages, some of the media availability and some of the footage from what they're working on in practices, I'm not going to give up too much information for any opposition people who might be looking for that type of a tip-off, but I'm just going to say this for my people who want that information. Last year, I remember watching the off-season tape of what LSU were doing offensively and being like, they're going to run misdirection and it's going to be so effective with Caden Durham, and they're running this misdirection plays, and it's the counters and oh my God, it's going to be so effective, and it's so effective, and they are going to, and you didn't see LSU ever run any of that. Like, maybe they did it like 3 or 4 times all freaking season, or maybe they did a lot more. It just didn't look like it, because if you don't run a counter correctly, it could look like anything. I mean, like, you had offensive linemen tripping over each other's legs. So, I mean, it could look like anything when you're running a counter and the play calling is scalampus, the communication on the field scalampus, and the offensive linemen don't know what the hell they're running and they're tripping over themselves. It can be like a Apple Dumpling Gang outtake. So you wanted to see that type of game plan for a rushing attack. It's still adapted for guys like we still have from last year, Caden Durham and Harlem Berry. And I'm proud to say that from what we're seeing, and also what we've been told, in addition to what we've been seeing, LSU are going to be running a lot more of those misdirection type plays, and more to actual to the ultimate benefit of the team. And I don't think Kiffin is the type of coach who's going to work on something that's, oh my God, this works. This brilliant play package, just this works. Our defense, one of the top 20 in the nation, they can't cover this or this guy or this route combination, or they can't cover this running back out of the flat if we're doing this and this downfield. Whatever it is, I don't see Kiffin being a coach who's going to be like, yeah, well, we're not going to call it in a game. Even though it worked in practice, just ignore that and we'll just scrap that and we'll call the most vanilla offense you've ever seen in your life. That is extremely transparent. It's so transparent. It's like Macaulay Culkin in Home Alone, like Casper the Friendly Ghost, Eminem's first album, Me on a Saturday. It's that white. But I think you're gonna like what we're gonna see from LSU's running game as things develop here. Things still have to take shape, right? We have to see Lane Kiffin being able to utilize guys like Dylan Jones correctly alongside Caden Durham and Harlem Berry. You want to see Harlem Berry, Caden Durham being kind of the leaders of the show. But here's the thing, man. You have a great stable of running backs. I have no prejudice. Whoever is the best guy, you ride with the hot hand. Ride with the hot hand. And that's something LSU does not do. Has not done for years. The rotations have been terrible. The decision-making of who's going to run the football and when has been terrible. And now you just have the feeling that I don't think Kiffin's a dumb coach who's going to find a secret sauce and then just like spit it out, throw it out, get rid of it, and make, an au jus that is like half of the ingredients include his own urine. Like, that's not going to happen. That's not the type of coach he is. That's the coach that LSU had previously, because that's the type of thing that we saw. It was that bad. It was almost like a like, hey, let's spit acid in the eyes of LSU fans. Like, that's the type of thing we saw last year. It was a crime what we saw offensively. But I don't think, in fact, I know there's no way Lane Kiffin will fall for that same trap. Even though we've had high expectations of other coaches who've come in before at LSU and it hasn't worked out. I think the work ethic and the buy-in, not just from the players to Kiffin, but Kiffin to LSU as a project, as a win now, win every season project. The embracing of the win now every season, every damn time, you have that pressure, you have that target on your back, you have all the eyes on you under the microscope. You want the fucking pressure. You want to be the mentality monster in the room. You want to be the man in the arena. You want to say, let's go, let's go, let's go. Do you want to invite the pressure to be piping hot? More pressure than Lane Kiffin's ever had. Now he's in a new spot. He's never felt anything like the wrath of the LSU fans or the expectations of the LSU fans. Being left at the tarmac. That by USC athletic directors, Pat Hayden's pretty bad, but LSU fans breathing down your neck, wanting you out like they wanted a certain few coaches recently, like how things became with Brian Kelly at the very end there, or like how things became with Matt McMahon, how toxic they became at Paul Maneri. You don't want that, and I think Kiffin is in a very unique spot where he can avoid that. He can actually get patience from this fan base. This fan base has already bought into Lane Kiffin. I'm just going to tell you, everybody, that if everyone doesn't know that, newsflash, this fan base already believes that Lane Kiffin is going to win at LSU. They already believe it. That can be beautiful as almost a self-fulfilling prophecy where it's like it's gonna happen now. But man, if you don't, it starts blowing up in your face year one in a really bad way. Year one, it gets ugly, even after the big investment. Man, opinions change quick. But then it just makes year two almost like a make it or break it year because you're going to be getting a lot more money. You're going to be getting like 45 million, maybe 35 million. Maybe they ding you by 5 million, but you're still going to get a lot of money to replenish that roster once again. And go it again, Lane. We have all the faith in you. And then what if, passes all the tests, Lane passes all the tests, the team passes all, but at the crucial moments, you fall short. You don't make the playoff those first 2 years of the Lane Kiffin era. Is that patience going to be there? That's my biggest question is like, if LSU and Lane Kiffin don't make the playoff in year one, I think people will still go, well, it's year one and make that excuse. But if he doesn't make the playoff for his first 2 seasons, where do we go there? What I think is going to happen and what I think has to happen, I think he knows this as well. And I think there's certain players on this team right now who know that for themselves, they need this season to be a success. And if these players have a successful season, Sam Levitt, Whit Weeks, Davon Keys, TJ Daugherty, Ty Benefield. Ty Benefield's a freak, man. Ty Benefield is unreal if you haven't seen his footage. The dude is something else. He is something else, man, to quote Johnny Cochran. He just ooh. You have so many players all over this roster who have to have this season be successful. They've gotten the goodwill. They've gotten the high praise and the high recruiting rankings all throughout their schooling and all throughout their time, the big NIL deals. But for their NFL futures, they really need a big season here. I mean, going into the draft with another kind of incomplete year for Whit Weeks would be it would just feel wrong for a kid who started everything so strong if he were to have like another injury prone season. And I just can't see that happening. He looks so much more physically seeing the footage of Whit recently and talking to some of the people that I know, I found out that Whit has added like literally layers of muscle where he is just absolutely thick. And you can see this, but like, I think, and in the legs too, in the knees, and some of these areas where he had these injuries in the ankle, he's very determined to not, because this is a kid who never had an injury in his life until that Baylor game. That's how long he had gone without injuries. And then now you get another series of injuries. Last season, the injury-prone tag does not work for Whit Weeks because he really is not. But it's just coming at the worst time for his LSU career. And it's so unfair. You want to see this kid be able to take that next step. And this season, that next step should be winning a Butkus. He's that good. And so if you have players like that in certain places, Ty Benefield, maybe a Thorpe Award guy, DJ Pickett, maybe a Thorpe Award guy, PJ Woodland, maybe challenging, punching above his weight at least. You have talent, you have leadership, you have work ethic, you have driven veterans, you have driven young guys who only have maybe 4 games of experience at Kentucky, like Darren Stray. But even though he's been playing with the second team, he's been playing like a starter. And I wouldn't be shocked if he goes back to his old spot of right tackle and takes over that right tackle spot at some point in fall camp, if Weston Davis returns to his old ways. However, if Weston Davis continues going the direction he's going in, Darren Strace is another great piece for the depth department. And that's the thing. This team is deeper. This team has more strength. This team has more size. This is a bigger team than the last. I don't think LSU has had a team with this much size, this much strength, just sheer athletic strength and size than 2019. I mean, we haven't seen an LSU receiver this big since Terrace Marshall left the team. You know, I mean, we've got so many different guys, Malik Elzy, who are like 6'3" and plus. You know, Trey Brown, Roman Mothershed. Of course, we know Trey'Dez Green, 6'7", and I think you can count him as a receiver as much as you can say he's a tight end. Whatever they want to call him, I just call him a pass catcher. But you have such length. I mean, even Jackson Harris, 6'2" at least. You have so many guys on this receiving core who are just lengthy, just towering. And that's another thing that's going to help the defense too. On the other side of the ball, this is a very lengthy defense as well. Ty Benefield has that length. Whit Weeks has that length. TJ Daugherty has that length as well. But you know, there's so much potential when you're talking about the edge guys like a Prince Will, who's just absolute. The dude looks like the Predator. The dude looks like the Predator. You know, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie The Predator, but my God, he looks like he has the body type of the main alien, I guess he is, in Predator. So, you know, this is a team that the worries are there. Special teams, Scott Starzik, who the photo you've got on the thumbnail is of him taking a kick. He's going to be your starting kicker. You lost some really big pieces, in my opinion, there. Aaron Burrell is someone that you should not have let leave the football team. You just should not have let him leave. And that was a big issue to see him walk out the door. Just fantastic from kickoffs. What a big miss. Special teams a little unknown, but I still like what I'm seeing from them. The biggest problem for me, the biggest worry for me, the biggest concern for me is going to be that LSU as a team failed to gel in the most critical areas, which is in the trenches. My biggest worry alongside the failure to gel, kind of 1A, 1B, is just injuries. Because injuries just kill the ability for the team to grow together, kill the ability for the team to kind of coalesce and connect and get it going. Jamer says, had a great Easter. Hope you all did too. Yes, please send those pics. Oh, just wait until you see what Ari was wearing. It was crazy. But, another spring winner has to be Lane Kiffin because the way his process is being spoken about and people are coming to check out his practices almost like a pilgrimage. And I wish we were down there so badly. If you want to help us out to be able to afford to get down there, which is really the only reason we're not down there, subscribe at LSUODYSSEY.com. Help us get down there to cover spring, baby, and for cover fall. But really, the speed of operation as a practice, that Lane Kiffin runs. All of those student assistants, they know exactly what roles they're going to play. They've gone over every single detail, and every one of them matter. It's like, it's incredible, the operation, the speed of which they run. I would love to know how many reps they are running per practice. Like all around total. Because they're going to chart all that. I want to know how many they're doing, because I want to compare that data to Brian Kelly's era too. Because it has to be double. It's incredible. It's unbelievable. It is speed demon NASCAR on meth type stuff. No wasted seconds. No lollygagging around. Getting work done, because they only have so much time. And you're seeing them actually take advantage of every second of that time. Millisecond, really. This is the LSU we were wanting for the last few years. A fast, no holds barred, hell bent for leather, push your opponents to the limit, fight to the absolute death, push everyone to the edge. That's the type of team we were wanting to see. The type of defense, type of offense. We didn't get that. So this season, there's a chance, I think, in the preparation department for LSU to be far more prepared for a long season than people really have thought, in the conditioning aspect and just the sheer amount of reps these guys are running. It makes me feel like they're going to be ready for this. Then again, that is a tough schedule. You are going to have to go back to Lane Kiffin's Ole Miss. A few guys on the team and a few guys on the staff, that's their old school. And they're going to have to go right back home in the belly of the beast in week 3. You're playing Clemson and Dabo Swinney in week 1. Now that should be a win. But right off the bat, man, you are right into the wars of this schedule. And it is a schedule filled with landmines. But everybody, we got to go over to Chelsea's mom's place for the night for dinner for the Easter. We'll be carrying on more of this, because I have more thoughts about this spring's winners and losers, or not losers, because I don't really think of it like that, but worries so far. And we do have more of this, and I think I'm going to do the rest maybe perhaps in an article form. Who knows? Definitely post in the comment section whether you guys want me to do more videos or more articles. What do you guys want more of? And we will definitely be pumping those out. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. It's such a thrill to be able to do this for you guys, and to have you guys come in here and watch it on a Monday night. National championship game is going on. I understand your holidays and all that stuff, and so we wanted to kind of keep it direct and to the point this show, but we'll be continuing on this theme, continuing to expand on this subject, and kind of look. I don't know why that happened, but looking into the meat of what we've seen so far from LSU in spring and what's ahead. Everybody, thank you for watching. We love you all. Go Tigers, baby.